Welcome. I'm glad you could join us. I'm Dr. Neal Barnard.
And I am Dulcie Ward.
Thank you for being part of this. This program is being brought to you by the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. This is a fourth in a series of 4 programs about using a healthful diet for diabetes. And I'm going to be presenting today some material about times when we really have some challenges, eating at work, eating while we travel, eating when we're on the road, eating during holiday times. These are times when it's a little bit harder to stick to our diet. And Dulcie, we're going to be making some healthy foods today, aren't we?
Yes, we will. I'll be demonstrating a few good recipes that are great for the holidays. I'll be making a roasted red pepper and a spinach dip, mashed greens with cauliflower and mushroom gravy, and then grilled portobello mushrooms.
Excellent. Great. And if people want to get those recipes, they are all downloadable as well?
That's correct. They will be available online.
Okay. Now, one other thing. If you're watching this program right now, you might want to put me on pause, and you can go to this website and actually download a PowerPoint that has all the slides that go along with this and illustrate some of the points that I'm going to be making. And Dulcie's PowerPoint also has all of her recipes. Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A couple of cautions before we go further. The first thing is, if you have diabetes, remember this is a serious illness. And I would strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you to see your doctor before you make any changes to your diet. Why do I say that? Making changes to your diet is a good idea, and people should do that. However, if you're on medicines, your medicines are bringing your blood sugar down. If you're on a powerful diet, we've been talking about a low-fat vegan diet, that's a powerful diet program. That will bring your blood sugar down too. So the combination of strong medicines and a strong diet, for some people, is too much for them, and your blood sugar can get too low. So one day you find yourself shaking, sweating, you're now hypoglycemic. That's really important to be aware of in advance before it happens. So talk to your doctor, let your doctor or healthcare provider know you're going to change your diet so that you're ready for that. We talked in an earlier program about ways to deal with hypoglycemia, but I want you to be aware of that and follow your healthcare provider's instructions. Second point is that most folks, when they follow a vegan diet, they have better nutrition than before. You're getting away from cholesterol and fat, you're adding fiber to your diet, your vegetables and fruits bring you lots of vitamins and minerals, but there's one nutrient that is not very common in vegan foods, and that's vitamin B12. Yes, it's in fortified soy milks and many fortified cereals and nutritional yeast, but you might be missing those things. Take a multiple vitamin. That'll keep you covered for B12 and many other nutrients. Very simple, very easy. One last thing, I want to mention a tool for you that just came out. It's called Dr. Neal Barnard's Program for Reversing Diabetes. And the things that we've talked about in these programs, along with lots of recipes, are all here in this book, and I'd encourage you to take a look at it. Or if you have a loved one who needs some help with diabetes, you might share this information with them, okay? Well, why don't we get started? And Dulcie, I'd like you to help me with this if you would. I want to talk a little bit about healthy eating at work, during travel, and during the holidays. And let's say we're at work. And the company cafeteria doesn't have a lot of healthful things to eat. And it gets to be about noon, and we want to eat in a more healthful way. Well, could I have put something in my desk drawer that might help? So why don't we start there, and then we'll walk down to the cafeteria, we'll think through all of our options. But starting with just at our desk drawer, are there things that you could have kept in your drawer to help you for lunch or snack time? Think through what those might be. Let me think. I can imagine one of those dried little soup mixes maybe would be one possibility. Dulcie, what are some other things that we could have?
Dried fruit makes a good option.
Okay, that's good. And you know, one thing about that, a lot of people will imagine it's solid sugar, it'll raise my blood sugar. Well, it may a little bit, but actually dried fruit has a lower glycemic index than you'd imagine. Are there some other options?
Rye crackers, perhaps.
Okay, sure. That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Oatmeal.
Oh, you mean like a little packet of oatmeal?
A little packet of oatmeal.
Or even the real thing. You could have old-fashioned oatmeal. You know, people imagine it takes 45 minutes to cook. It just takes a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that works too.
Okay, so you arrive at work and make breakfast very quickly. Okay, good. Have you thought of some other things as well? You know, don't forget nature's original fast food. Have some bananas, have some apples, some pears, some fruit. Have them nearby. They're healthful, and if you're afraid of all the sugar in fruit, keep in mind fruit tends to have a low glycemic index. Okay, how about brown bag in it? You had something for dinner yesterday. You can bring it in, and that'll work fine. Any other things that people can bring to work? Dulcie, help me out. What, if I'm getting ready, I'm getting in my car, I'm going off to work, what could I drag with me to help me through times when I'm a little hungry?
Well, low-fat or fat-free tortilla with hummus.
There we go.
Always a quick, easy grab-and-go option.
Okay, excellent. And anything else? Keep in mind, fruit. I'm always encouraging people to bring fruit back in their lives. You know, so many people think, well, I've got diabetes, I have to forget fruit, I have to forget pasta, forget carbs. But, you know, I think it's good for people to bring those back as well.
Yeah, or fresh vegetables, too, that you can just cut up and have throw in a bag. And bring with you.
Which ones in particular?
Carrots, red pepper, cucumbers, and anything really goes.
Okay. All right. You know, one thing that I was doing the other night was I sliced up a cantaloupe. And this sounds very healthy. Nobody's going to say that cantaloupe is decadent, right? You know, you don't go into work the next morning and say, you won't believe what I did yesterday. I pigged out on cantaloupe. However, try this. If you have got that the chocolate fairy is visiting you about 8:30 at night and you're thinking, I really want to have something sweet, have a little bit of cantaloupe. You'll be amazed. It really gives you the sweet flavor and a lot of beta-carotene and none of the guilt. Okay? Give it a try. Okay, let's say I'm going to the company cafeteria. Maybe you work in a place where there is a big cafeteria. Are there some healthy foods that might be there now, or are there some healthy things that you might ask the cafeteria manager for? Elsie, let me ask you. Let's say I'm looking around, typical cafeteria line. A lot of things maybe I shouldn't be eating, but are there some things that I'd be glad to have?
I'd check out the salad bar first and look to see what options there are besides just the vegetables. Maybe there's beans, chickpeas. Those go great on salad.
So it's not just iceberg lettuce?
It's not just iceberg lettuce, hopefully. If it is just iceberg lettuce, maybe you could talk to your cafeteria manager about that.
They need to get more imaginative. Okay.
It's always a good option. Soup.
Oh, good. Yeah, good.
A lot of soups
okay.
Can be vegetarian and low in fat and not the creamy ones. But
okay. Good. Salad bar, soups. Hopefully they'll have some side vegetables as well, and you can make a nice vegetable plate. We've had many people come through here where they really had a talk with the cafeteria manager and said, hey, why don't we have some vegan soups? Why don't we have pasta with a marinara sauce instead of that greasy meat sauce? You can talk to your manager about things. And do we have recipes or suggestions for people if they want?
We have a lot of great recipes online at PCRM.org. You can find a host of different recipes that you might be able to bring into your cafeteria and use at home. Okay,
that's great. All right, well, let me take it from here, and then I know you're going to get set up, and in a few minutes we're going to cook. All right, thanks, Dulcie. Okay, let's talk about travel while Dulcie's getting set up. Travel is a time where it's really, I mean, let's face it, it's tough. You pack your bags, you race off to get to your hotel or whatever your destination is, and you realize there's nothing to eat. Well, let me offer some suggestions. I've got 5 travel tips. Tip number 1, if you're on a long flight, you're maybe going to Europe or you're going coast to coast, many of the airlines do have eliminated their meal service, but many of them still have it, especially for long flights, overseas flights. Call in advance, at least 24 to 48 hours, and ask for a vegan meal. They know that word. They can even pronounce it correctly. So if you ask for it, they'll provide it, and you'll probably get served first. Tip number 2, pack a healthy sandwich. It's a very easy thing to put a sandwich in your carry-on luggage, like hummus on rye with some lettuce or tomato slices. Pack a sandwich. You'll be glad you did. You might bring along, this is tip 3, bring along a few other handy foods. Let me give you a couple of suggestions. Soy milk comes in tiny little cartons. Juice does too. And you can throw them in your bags and you'll have them when you need them. Bran cereal, same story. Keeps forever, and you can have it in your hotel room along with your soy milk. You got breakfast. Hummus and bean dishes sometimes come as a powder or flakes. So you just add some water and you mix it up. You've got an instant sandwich. Fruit is good, whether it's fresh fruit or dried fruit. One tip, don't put the banana at the bottom of your suitcase. Granola can be good. Dried fruit is fine. And then there are some snack bars like Luna bars or low-fat granola bars. Read the label, though. Don't be careful about the really high-fat ones. A few more. Dried fruit we mentioned already, but there are also trail mixes, some of which are really quite good. Oranges, tangerines, pita bread travels really well with hummus. It's already flat. You can't do any damage to it in your luggage. Have you seen these little containers of applesauce or little fruit cups? They're very handy. And if you have them in the middle of a long flight or a long road trip, you just open them up, and with a spoon, you've got lunch. Baby carrots, sliced cucumbers are good. Rice cakes and bean dip, they're perfectly fine, very low in fat, high in fiber if you get the original brown rice type. And also the instant soup cups, very handy, you just add hot water. Okay, tip number 4. When you're at the airport and your flight is delayed, look around for a vegetarian dish. Now you might be saying, hey, wait a minute, you don't know my airport. It's all fast food, there's nothing there to eat. I know what you're talking about, but if you look, you'll find them. Go to Taco Bell, for example, and skip the greasy meat taco. Instead, you can have the bean burrito, hold the cheese. If there's a Burger King, they've got a BK Veggie, or they have the Burger King Whopper. They will make it vegetarian style. They'll explain that to you. Ask them for it. Many of the places have Asian-type fast food outlets now, where you can either get a vegetarian-type sushi or a stir-fry or vegetables. Take a look for that. And I'm seeing more and more veggie wraps, veggie burgers, various kinds of salads. Give that a try as well. Fresh fruit and salads, of course, are always fine. Tip number 5, don't be shy. You're at the hotel, ask for what you want. Same with the restaurant. If you look at the menu, very often it doesn't have the full range of the things that they can provide for you. If it's nothing but bacon and eggs for breakfast, ask, can they make you oatmeal? Sure, they've got it. It's dinner time. Maybe you want spaghetti with a tomato sauce. I guarantee you they've got it there. They may not have put it on the menu. Ask for a vegetable plate. Ask for a veggie burger. Very often they have these things. Now, in your room, you can ask for a mini fridge. Yes, you can. A lot of people, and you probably know this already, many people have them to refrigerate medication. Well, you can put your sandwich in there too. For extra points, ask for a kitchenette. Some of the hotels have them, some don't. And when you arrive, if you make a quick trip to the grocery store, you can stock your shelves in your hotel room with things so that you're not going to go hungry. When you dine out, let's say you have a business dinner out, always think about international cuisine. Italian, you know they've got spaghetti marinara and bean dishes and all kinds of vegetables. Chinese, Japanese, Thai, these are going to be your best choices. All right, let's focus now on holidays and parties. For many folks, this is where we make an exception. I didn't want to insult the host, so I ate all kinds of things that I now regret. You've been there. Well, here are a few suggestions for you. First of all, plan ahead. Think about, all right, I'm going to be at this party. What are the foods that I'm going to really have trouble resisting? And what can I replace them with? What can I have instead? Second tip, it might be good to adjust your mindset a little bit. If you think just on the short term, I can make it through this one holiday without giving into really unhealthy foods. Just if you would work on your mindset a little bit and also think big picture. What really matters to me, not only in the holiday season but all the time, is I want to have really good health and I want others around me to be healthful as well. So if you focus on that a little bit, it helps. And I frankly like to improve the menu in a subtle way. Somebody invites me to their house, maybe for a dinner party or something like that. And as soon as I get this invitation, or as soon as thereafter as I think about it, call them up and I say, I don't want you to I don't want to put you to any trouble, but I've been following a vegan diet, and could I bring something? And inevitably they say, oh no, don't even worry about it. There will be plenty to eat. Now, whatever they were actually thinking, at least they know about it before I arrive. Because I guarantee you, you can go there and eat all kinds of bad things and you think you're being nice to your hosts. Later on, they discover that you were trying to find a healthy diet and they were trying to follow a healthy diet. They feel bad about it. Let them know in advance. Very likely, they are too. Many hosts serve less than healthy things because they think their guests expect them. They're worried about their own weight, or their husband or wife is worried too. Okay? So I also will oftentimes arrive with a food gift. Maybe some nice selection of dips or something like that, either for them to open up at the time or for some future time. In some cases, it makes sense even to do potluck. Doesn't work everywhere, but it does work a lot of places. Tip 4. This is my most important one. Practice your lines. In other words, somebody comes up to you and they are pushing unhealthy foods on you. It's really handy to already know what you're going to say. You might say, for example, oh, I ate so much for lunch, I think I'm just going to wait a little bit. Or, You know, those look so good. I'll have one in a little while. If those words, or you may also want to say, you know, I have diabetes and I'm on a special diet right now, so I'm, you know, whatever it is, practice it so you have it in advance so that you don't feel, oh, you know, whatever you're pushing on me, I must eat. Practice your lines also to yourself. It's useful to remind yourself, you know, I really owe it to myself to follow this healthy diet through. Or, I'm going to feel so good when I get home, I'm going to be so proud of myself. These lines kind of help you through times of doubt. Fifth tip, and this is maybe my most important one actually. Don't arrive hungry. You've been there. You arrive at a party, and there's the buffet, and you haven't eaten since last Wednesday, and you're going to go right through everything. Don't let that happen. Have a little snack before you go so that your hunger is not screaming out at you, and it'll help you to keep control. Okay, carry a plate. Hosts are big on filling empty hands. So if you pick up a little plate and you have a couple of crudités on it or whatever the case might be, they are less likely to push things on you. I also often like to ask family members or friends to really help with a health decision that we've made. For example, you say, you're thinking about your family. They've all got all kinds of unhealthy foods around that tempt you, and they may even tease you a little bit or push you to eat unhealthy things. Try a little flattery. You say to your spouse, your loved ones, your kids, your parents, you say, you know, you've helped me in so many ways. I want you to help me with one more thing. I'm really trying to stick to this diet. Can I count on you to look out for me a little bit? Suddenly, a person who might have been a challenge is going to be your big friend. And they're going to say, you're not supposed to have that. They will be your external skeleton. So flatter them a little bit, bring them in. Okay, last thing I want to talk about is preventing weight gain during the holidays. Virtually all the weight that people gain during the entire year is gained between October and December. And then starting January 1st, we all feel guilty and horrible, and we slim down a little bit through the spring, we hold steady during the summer, and starting in the fall, we gain again. So what that means is, if you can get through the fall, you're really conquering the weight gain that other people are victim to. Number one, increase your fiber intake. That means bean dishes, vegetables, fruits. It means soups that have a lot of vegetables in them. These foods make you fuller with fewer calories. Point two is don't let unhealthy foods pretend to be your friends. We often think, it's holiday time. I love chocolate. I love sweets. I love greasy, fatty foods. And these foods are not necessarily thinking about your welfare. Step three, be careful about fatty foods. Fat packs in calories. You remember my saying, fat has 9 calories in every gram. Carbohydrate has only 4. So the fats, whether they're from animals or plants, I'm talking about vegetable oils, chicken fat, beef fat, fish oil. Those are the most fattening foods. Point 4, for really dealing with the holidays, is ask for help. Often our families and friends really have the same concerns that we do. We often don't think about that, but everybody wants to be in their best weight. They want to be healthy, and don't hesitate to ask for help. And I like to also avoid surprises. Let's say you're going out to a restaurant. You might think through, what are you going to see when you get there? You could even call, ask them what options they might have. Some places even put their menus online. Okay? Keep a food diary if you like. For many people, writing down what they eat allows them to spot an unhealthy pattern. It also allows them to reward themselves when they've really done very, very well. And if you're out for a long day of holiday shopping, take something with you. If you've got some fresh fruit in the car, you've got a sandwich you made at home or whatever, you're going to be in good shape. And holidays aren't a time of stress for everybody, but they are for some people. And if that's the case, you might want to take some time out to de-stress a little bit. Why do I say that? Because at times when we're highly stressed, those are times when we kind of let everything else go. We decide, I'll just eat anything because I'm under too much stress to think about it. Okay, unstress a little bit. Take a little bit of time for you. Make sure you sleep. We find cravings hit us quite a lot during this time. If that's you, think a little bit about what you're craving. You're probably not craving asparagus or rice cakes or apples or oranges or anything that's good for you. And we're probably craving sugar, chocolate. You know I'm telling you the truth. Cheese for some people. For a lot of men, their big craving is meat. And they know they like apples and oranges, but those aren't really the foods that we crave. So think about what it is, and secondly, think about why it is that you're craving it. Is it because you've had it every day at the same time and you're now fulfilling a pattern? That's the most common thing. But maybe you're tired. Maybe you're stressed. Maybe someone is getting on your nerves a little bit, and this is leading you to have these comfort foods. If you find that, have healthy substitutes. Have healthy foods around. Don't let yourself get hungry. Fill up on healthful foods. Make sure you've got plenty of vegan cookbooks, whether they're our books here from PCRM, John McDougall's books, or many others. You'll find them. When you go out to eat, look for international and ethnic restaurants. And if you're going out, you might want, or traveling, you might even want to Google vegetarian food plus the name of the city. See what comes up. There is a website called happycow.net that I've often used. You can put in a city name, and they'll show you the vegetarian restaurants in that town. So go to it if you want to. By the way, if you do, call before you go, because restaurants are always propping up and shutting down. So there we have it. I'm going to turn it over to Dulcie, and we're going to start cooking. Before I go, let me just, a quick reminder, this is a new book that I'd like to encourage you to take a look at. This has the things that we know about with dealing with diabetes, lots of good recipes. So if you or someone you know needs some help, you might want to take a look at this, okay? Anyway, thanks so much for being with us. Dulcie, take it away.
Okay. Well, for those of you just joining us, my name is Dulcie. I'm a dietitian, and today I'm going to be demonstrating a few great recipes that are perfect for the holidays and entertaining. And all of these recipes, like I always cook, are vegan, low in fat, and low glycemic index. So, I'm going to get started with one of my favorite recipes, which is a roasted red pepper dip, and then I'm going to walk you through a spinach dip. And both of these dips are perfect to make if you're having friends over or to bring to a holiday party, because when you go and you walk into a party, you usually see some type of vegetable platter. But normally alongside of that is a creamy dip that's high in fat, and this is going to be a low-fat, dairy-free alternative that's just as flavorful, and your friends will be wowed if you make this. So I'm going to start off by taking 2 packages of low-fat tofu. I'm choosing one is firm, and then the other is soft. The combination will make the dip a great consistency, and I'll put them into my food processor here. And you want to choose tofu that has less than 3 grams of fat per serving. So you can just check that out, read on the back of the ingredient, or on the nutrition facts label. And then to that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cider vinegar and 1/3 a cup of roasted red peppers. And you want to make sure you choose roasted red peppers that are not in oil. You can read the ingredients and then just check out the fat on the nutrition facts. That's the easiest way to tell. So about 1/3 a cup of those roasted red peppers, and these are great, high in vitamin A, vitamin C, and then going to add a teaspoon of chili powder in here. Going to shake some in, and chili powder is excellent. It helps, it's an anti-inflammatory, and kind of in this winter season, it's perfect to ward off sickness and also promotes digestion, as does lemon here, which I'm going to add in. And I'm just squeezing 1 lemon into the mix. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon. You can use concentrate or fresh lemon, whatever you have on hand. So all you do from there is turn your food processor on for about 10 seconds or so. And in the end, you have a very colorful, bright red dip that you can serve. I have this over here, on my side here, with any type of veggies that are all cut up, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, peppers, or with some type of bread or cracker. So that's the roasted red pepper dip. The second dip that I'm just going to walk you through is a little variation, the same 2 packages of low-fat tofu, and then from there you would add just a cup of frozen spinach that you've thawed and drained so you don't have the excess water. Spinach is a wonder food, high in vitamins and minerals and also fiber. And then 1 bunch of green onions chopped up, again the lemon juice, and then you want to add 1 package or 2 tablespoons about of dry soup mix. And this just adds some extra flavor to the dip. So from there you would do the same thing, put everything in the food processor, and then voila, in the end here we have our very colorful, green, very tasty spinach dip. And I've put this in pumpernickel bread here that I've scooped out just because it's a fancy way of serving it. And you can use rye, pumpernickel, or serve it with crackers. Again, they're both beautiful dips, low in fat, perfect to replace those other high-fat dips that you're standardly used to. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to mention that you can also add, if you like spicier dips, hot sauce to the roasted red pepper dip. Okay, so our next recipe, this is a unique recipe, mashed grains and cauliflower. And this is going to be, this is an excellent flavorful alternative to mashed potatoes. And all you do is you take a little bit of olive oil, but I usually use vegetable broth instead, and saute your onion, a cup of onion. And then you take millet, and millet is an ancient grain used by the Chinese. They actually used to bring this inside in the wintertime because it was so highly valued. Also an excellent source of fiber and protein, and very tasty too. So if you haven't used it before, you should try it out because it's really great. So you would put your onion in the pan, saute that for about 5 minutes until it turns white. Put your millet in, roast it for 5 minutes, and then add a couple cups of water. You want to read on the package of millet depending on how much you use. And 4 cups of cauliflower, all chopped up. Cauliflower, excellent cruciferous vegetable, great source of antioxidants. And so you let this, you cover it, and you let that simmer. And what you want in the end is you want your grain to soak up all that water and puff up and become soft. So here I have the cauliflower and the millet that I cooked in advance that's been simmered about half an hour, 45 minutes. This takes a little bit of time. You really can just leave it covered and let it go for a little while and make something else in the meantime. And then from here, what you would do is you would take either a potato masher or the easy way out, use the food processor, throw it in, mash it up, because what you want to get in the end is a very sort of creamy mixture that's like a mashed potato. And the next recipe I'm going to make is mushroom gravy that tastes great, and it works perfectly on this mashed cauliflower and grain. So I'll put this over here, and then we'll add the mushroom gravy on top. So it's a wonderful alternative to mashed potatoes. Okay, so mushroom gravy. What I've done in advance is I've taken about a cup and a half of mushrooms. You can use button mushrooms or cremini mushrooms, whichever you prefer. And then I've sauteed them in the pan on about medium-high heat for about 5 minutes until they turn dark brown and they start to soften a little bit. So from here, what you want to do, and I used just a little bit of olive oil, 2 teaspoons, and in this whole recipe, that's not a lot of olive oil. The next step would be to take 1/4 cup of just plain old flour, and then add to that about 3/4 of a cup of vegetable broth, or in this case, I'm using no chicken broth, no animal products. Very easy to use in this little container here. You can refrigerate this for about a week, 10 days, and it's fine, so you can use it on a few occasions. So I would just whisk this together, my flour and the vegetable broth, until it's all mixed and starts to thicken a little bit. And then what I'll do is, my pan's getting warm over here, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And half of my flour mixture to begin with. And then some Italian seasonings. I'm going to use parsley, basil, and oregano in my mushrooms. You could also use rosemary and thyme. They have stronger flavors, very tasty. These Italian seasonings are great. A lot of people don't realize that they're actually a great source of vitamins and minerals, as are other leafy green vegetables. They're just dried up. So this is starting to thicken real fast because my pan is hot. So I'm going to add the other half of my flour mixture here and stir it around. And as the mushrooms get warm, they start to lose some of their natural juices, and that's why this is such a flavorful recipe. So this is just starting to thicken. Looks like a gravy to me. And I would let this sit. You want to turn off the heat now because it's pretty thick, and I'm just going to scoop this on top of my mashed cauliflower. Perfect. Excellent. Very tasty, low-fat alternative to your typical gravy. Okay. So the last recipe I'll be doing today is making portobello mushrooms. And if you haven't cooked with portobello mushrooms before, they really are a very wonderful, juicy mushroom that becomes very flavorful, and almost you could use it in replacement of some kind of center of the plate meat. You would use your mushroom as a center of the plate food. So all I've done is I've actually just wiped off my mushroom and cut the stems off. And you don't want to put mushrooms under too much water because they'll soak in the water. And instead, we want them to soak in the ingredients that I'm putting in my pan. So what I'm going to do is start off with just 2 teaspoons of olive oil, very small amount. You can skip the olive oil totally and it comes out just as great because we're using other vinegars in this. And I'm using a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar as well. I'm going to do a little bit more than a tablespoon just so that my pan doesn't dry out. And if you find that as you're cooking your mushrooms, your pan starts to dry out, you can add just a little bit more of balsamic or soy sauce, which I'm putting in. And a lot of soy sauces are high in sodium, and if you're trying to watch how much sodium's in your diet, you can purchase the reduced sodium soy sauce as I'm using today. Okay, and then the recipe calls for another 2 tablespoons of red wine or water, and I'm going to use a red wine vinegar, and I'm just going to put a tablespoon in. So you mix all that together. I also want to mix in 2 garlic cloves that have been mashed up, and let this heat up, and then a half a teaspoon of oregano as well. And then you just put your mushrooms in the pan top down. And what you would do is you're just going to cook these in the pan for about 3 minutes till they start to get soft on that side. And then what happens, you would flip them over after the 3 minutes and then saute them on the other side for a couple minutes, and they'll be excellent, juicy, very flavorful. You can use them, again, like I said, next to your mashed grains and cauliflower as sort of a center of your meal plate protein, or you could put them in a tortilla or a between a couple slices of bread and use them like a burger. Substitute and use your favorite condiment on them. So, just going to let these simmer here. Mushrooms are excellent. They're a great source of potassium, actually, and they have more potassium in them than a banana does. So from here, I'm just going to flip them over. And this smells really tasty right now. I'll show you they're starting to brown on the top. Very flavorful. And then again, I would cook those for another couple minutes. So those are my recipes for this week. I hope that you can use them during entertaining and for the holidays. And you can find all of these recipes and a copy of this demonstration online at www.pcrm.org.